da 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 da. This session is titled Commitment, Communication and Equanimity, the recipe for the perfect relationship. And it is indeed our honor that we have a truly global panel here on stage. We have incredible women from all over the world who have achieved a lot in their lives. So I'm going to take a moment to introduce each of them, and then for this session we will follow a panel style of conducting the session. So we'll invite each speaker to share some opening remarks, followed by engagement from all of us in the audience, so that we have some time for question and answer before we break for lunch. Yeah? So firstly, let me introduce to you Ms. Kathrine Aspaas. Ms. Kathrine comes to us all the way from Norway. She's a journalist and a writer. She's the author of the best-selling book, The Age of Generosity. Her philosophy of vulnerability, transparency, and the art of being flawsome has turned into a movement in Norway. She's a journalist, an economist, and she has 22 years of experience as a financial journalist, columnist, and editorial writer in Norwegian newspaper. Kathrine, very happy to have you here with us. Seated also on my left is Ms. Lilani, the founder and chief executive of Spice Magic, England. Ms. Lilani, OBE, is a food guru, author, motivational speaker, and an internationally acclaimed champion for women. She's the force behind the annual Women of the Future Awards, the Asian Women of Achievement Awards, the Ambassadors Program, the Inspirational Women's Network, and the Global Empowerment Award. She's a patron of DIL, the Westminster Society, trustee of HALO, and an ambassador for Girl Guiding UK and the Tiffany Circle of the British Red Cross. She's on the board of the Global Diversity Practice and on the court of Brunel University. She is listed as one of the 100 most powerful women in UK by BBC Radio 4 Women's Hour. Ms. Lilani, what an honor to have you with us. On my right here is Ms. Narayani Ganesh. She's the editor-in-chief of Speaking Tree of the Times of India. She currently holds the position of the Associate Editor, Religion and Spirituality at the Times of India. She writes lead articles on issues concerning environment, science and technology, tourism, travel, heritage, philosophy, health, and edits 2 popular columns on philosophy, spirituality, and wellness. The Speaking Tree and Sacred Space on the opinion page of the TUI. Narayani, honor to have you with us. Ladies, we can do better than this. Thank you. They deserve it, all of them. Seated next to Narayani is Ms.Cathie Burton. Kathy is the spokesperson for the Council of Europe. She's based out of... Kathy, now you're in Strasbourg?
I'm going to explain when I speak. I am actually now working for the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe.
Okay.
As spokesperson, head of communication.
Communication,
and I've
great.
been there for a year. I'm in Vienna based.
Oh, now, so she's in Vienna. Every time we meet Kathy, she's in a new base. So it's important to keep touch of that. She's from north of England and has lived and worked in many regions of Europe, campaigning for clear communication between communities in conflict, ethical journalism, and public relations standards. She's presently working as the spokesperson and head of communication and media outreach at the world's largest regional political organization, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, and worked previously as spokesperson and head of campaigns at the Council of Europe. Kathy, welcome. And to my extreme right is the Honorable Ms. Tatyana Poronova. Tatyana comes to us from Russia. She was born in Eastern Siberia, studied economics in the university, and she is actually an art of living teacher as well. She has worked in the city administration and the regional administration, and currently she is the deputy governor of the Murmansk region in Russia. Ms. Poronova, it's an honor to have you with us. Thank you, Bhanuditi. So the title of this session is Commitment, Communication and Equanimity, the Recipe for a Perfect Relationship. And as you could see here from the introductions, many of our distinguished speakers on the panel are either journalists or from the media directly, have experience in governance, in the civil society, themselves in government. So we thought that we could give this session a flavor of what it is for all of us who are in the public space. What responsibility do we have with respect to our communication, with respect to our commitment and the equanimity that we maintain when it comes to fulfilling our responsibilities and therefore bringing harmony in life. If you really see the three words, communication is important. We are all social beings, and how we perceive, how we observe, how we express are critical aspects of communication. Commitment is important too, right? It is what is the commitment that we have in our life? To what values? What stands tall when it comes to the crunch? And finally, equanimity. So what is the state of our mind? Where are we coming from? And how does that impact the way we live and conduct ourselves? So this is going to be very interesting, and looking forward to hearing from all of you. In no particular order, how would you like to start? Narayani, would you like to start? And do you have, yeah? So can I invite you to make some opening comments on this subject, and then we go around the table. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. And pranam to Guruji and Bhanu Didi and all of you here, and a special thanks to Rama, my facilitator. We just had Sri Vidya talk about the media, how the media has such a strong presence in our lives and that we spend most of our time engaging with the media. So I just want to make this remark that there's been a sea change in the way media has itself evolved over the years. Earlier it was what we call the 5 Ds. Death, destruction, disease, disaster, and doom. This is what you saw on the front pages, and also as breaking news in the electronic media. But slowly, as more women have started becoming media persons, because I think there is a connection, because earlier it was very male-dominated, mostly because of night shifts, etc., and going out for reporting was not seen as a very safe job. And when it was male-dominated, I think the media was concentrating more on negative aspects. And with more women coming in, more women reporting and writing and analyzing stories, you suddenly find like a fresh breeze. You find a whole lot of positive twists to what even a tragic story of, say, a school bus going off the Wazirabad bridge in Delhi where a lot of children died. Suddenly, the Times of India had stories focusing on all those people who helped save lives. You know, the brave people who would have gone unsung if not some reporters had decided to go and focus on what made them save lives. So I think in our obsession with, sensationalism and tragic stories, we tend to forget that every tragic story has the seeds of a lot of hope, and there are people who hold that flame of hope, and we need to learn from them. And I think women have made a huge difference in bringing about this change in the way stories are played out in the media today, although there is, of course, room for more.
Thank you. Thank you, Narayani. You're right. Actually, you spoke about the 5 Ds. I could get only the 3, so I feel good about that. But it is important for the media to communicate the truth, right? That is what we are depending on the media for. But how does media communicate the truth without creating that paranoia in society, so that it's not that open the newspaper and you think you're going to get a heart attack all the time. So, Kathrine, I would like to hear from you, from your perspective of Western Europe. How does this pan out?
Well, I am a financial journalist, and for 18 years I went to work every day to find people who've done something stupid, something illegal, and write about them.
Kathrine, you can hold it a little down.
I let it down?
That's it.
Okay. I was looking for people who'd done stupid things, and my focus would be on the stupid things that people do. And I think that we are about to change that. We are going from war journalism to peace journalism, slowly. And that is so important, because what we read and what we digest of news, it influences the way we feel, and it influences our emotions, and it influences the way we interact together. So my journey from the age of fear and into the age of generosity, which I've studied very closely. I think this, yeah, thank you. Because I thought I felt as if I had to swallow it. Well, I won't. I said that we are moving from a world of fear and slowly into a world of generosity and love. And we are, in the media, we are slowly moving from war journalism to peace journalism. And there are so many things to support this development. We have brain science that now shows us, it proves the wisdom that spiritual leaders have been practicing for thousands of years. It proves that we are built for connection. Connection is what we long for. Connection is what we want and what we love. So there are so many things that moves us towards generosity. Can I say something about what gets in the way? I have to stand then, because I think we women, glorious women here, we all have to know ourselves better. We have to be honest about what gets in the way of being nice, of being generous. Because it's so easy to say, we all know we should be nice and be generous. But the things that gets in the way, we seldom speak about. So I'm going to speak a little about what gets in the way for me. And my first get in the way thing, my challenge of generosity, is envy. I'm a very envious person. And I envy very slim women. I was hoping for that response. I envy very slim women, and especially when they eat something I love, I get very not generous at all. And I tend to judge them when I see these slim women, and if they're beautiful and rich, and I just can't help myself. And I judge them and I say they can't be as intelligent as I am. No, that is impossible. And the thing is, you laugh. And I'm very glad for that response, because it means we're together in this. We're so sweet. We are so strange. And we can talk about it and laugh about it. And we have to talk about that. And another thing, and I'm using now a lot of my time, we also have to, we're talking about greed. I found that my envy, when I look at my envy, I see that it's actually admiration gone astray. I admire these slim women. And that is a good feeling. So I can love them as well, and I belong to them. And I've seen that envy is admiration gone astray. And we're talking about greed. Greed is passion gone astray. It's passion. It's passionate to stand up here and talk for 30 minutes, and we know we have 10. Women, we have to talk less up on this stage. Now it's time for me to sit down. Thank you.
Kathrine, you said it very lightly, but I think you raised a very important point. Today, for example, if you are envying women who are slim, I do too, by the way. So, do you think, and I'm going to turn to you, Ms. Lilani, you work so much for women's rights, you're championing women's rights in Western Europe, around the world. What role do you think the media plays, or the way we communicate, or what we are committed to play in the way we are creating stereotypes today for women, and therefore how is that influencing, you think, the way women are treated or the harmony around that?
Thank you. I'm going to do what a British politician normally does, because whatever question you ask him, he says whatever he wants to say. Now, I'm very conscious of time, because we're running into 14 minutes where we've been going, so I'm going to keep this really short, because my own research and research in America, where they do all kinds of research, shows that after 14 minutes, 20% of the audience start thinking of what they're going to do as soon as the talk is over. 20% are reminiscing. 12% are thinking of religion, and 17% are having erotic thoughts. So I'm not going to get there. I live in the UK, where diversity is high on the agenda, and I can tick all the boxes. I'm a woman, I'm an ethnic minority woman, I'm a Muslim woman, and I'm disabled. And you may wonder in what way I'm disabled. And I say this up front because 20 years ago I developed a very serious hearing problem. So I only have 20% of my hearing. And I wear very powerful hearing aids. But in spite of that, sometimes when someone asks me a question, I give a totally doolally answer, like the time when somebody asked me, how long does it take you to make a curry? And I heard, how long have you been in the country? So I said 34 years. So they weren't going to come. So now, I just want to say two things. And the first thing is that I normally travel with my walk. So wherever I go and speak, be it Oxford, Cambridge, Buckingham Palace, my walk goes with me. So at the end of speaking, I actually bring in my Indian values of nurturing and giving food. So I make masala wala aloo in 5 minutes. And it's a great way of actually communicating. And since I haven't been able to bring my walk here, I would like to invite whoever comes to London to come to my home to actually have a meal with me. My own mantra is, you have not lived a perfect day unless you've done something for someone who can never repay you. So my most important ingredient in the quality of life and what we do for me is kindness. And I think that it should be something that all of us do. And I think going back to your media and the stereotyping, the first question I was asked when I was in England is, you're a good Indian woman, do you walk 2 steps behind your husband? And I said, no, I walk 10 steps behind him so he doesn't know what I'm getting up to. And it was to dispel these dreadful myths about the Indian woman sitting at home and frying onion bhajiyas that I set up the Asian Women of Achievements Awards, then the Women of the Future Awards, which is for all women under 35, the Inspiration Women's Network, the Global Empowerment Award, lots of wonderful women that we've met along the way. And through meeting them, I've actually learned so much, and the media play a huge role in helping us to break those stereotypes. And I think I've used the media in a nice way that I've enjoyed, because last year, for instance, I had the Duchess of York and Miriam Clegg, the Deputy Prime Minister's wife, Sherry Blair, all of them at my dinner. And I told them all, I want you to wear a sari. And it was in every single paper because the media likes those kind of stories. And luckily, nobody tripped over and had their sari unravel, but they still published it. So I think we can use the media very, very effectively. But I think the only way we can do that is, again, with honesty, with integrity, all those ingredients of life that are really important. And I think they also want you really to see that you're making a difference, that you care, and that you have passion. I think then it works very well for me. So the 13 minutes are now over, so I better hand over. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lilani. Kathy, with that, I want to turn to you. You have a lot of experience in communication, especially in conflict areas, and how communication can be used to resolve conflicts. So what are some of your remarks about the importance of that commitment to truth, the commitment to a sense of balanced reporting, if you will?
Well, I'm actually going to bring some doom, depression. I'm going to set you a challenge. I have some pictures. I don't know whether you can put my pictures up.
Risha, can you help us with Kathy's slides?
Okay. Well, while we're waiting for the pictures, I'm going to take you from a voyage of darkness into a voyage of hope. That's what I'm hoping. And I'm going to have a little experiment in those few minutes. And I'm going to need some orange ladies, and I'm going to need some green ladies. So be ready for it. So, as Rajita said, my passion is using my gifts that God has given me as a communicator to try and bring harmony and peace to the world. That is it in about 10 minutes. I've worked as a journalist. I've worked at the Council of Europe, which is about human rights. Now I have a great challenge. I'm working for the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Could I have the next slide, please? Okay, this is yesterday. These ladies are the widows and the mothers from Srebrenica in the wars in the 1990s. The OSCE is very well known because that was really where we came to prominence, doing work on the ground. And to this very day, we're working in Bosnia, in all those countries, to create different ways of dealing with things. Next slide, please. Here's the bad news. That's today, or at least it's a few days ago. And I want to just get my trusty iPad, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you. Every day I receive twice the OSCE afternoon news and morning news update. Let me just read you a few. News update. Bosnia Federation, PM, held emergency government meeting late on 6th of February after a second day of violent clashes. Azerbaijan's Ministry of Defense reported to media that Armenian armed forces fired on positions of the Azerbaijan army in the evening of 6th of February. We heard from our colleague yesterday about Azerbaijan. Protesters gathered yesterday in Croatia. What else can we find? I've got about 50 stories there. About 80% of them about conflict. About 20% of them about peace. This is where we are today. Everywhere, gloom, despondency, darkness. We're going to move out of it, aren't we? Okay, next slide, please. The job I do is difficult. I was a journalist. Journalists can get cross with me because I don't give them the story immediately. But there is a reason why. We have to make sure that what we say, what I say as a spokesperson, will not upset anybody, will not cause any more conflict. This is a set of 3 postcards and stamps. They're all wrong. Kosovo. I can't say Kosovo. I'm working with 57 countries. I've got Serbia there. Serbia doesn't agree that Kosovo should be independent. The Serbian ambassador called me last week because I'd sent a paper out. It was my evaluation for the year. And I said that one of the biggest stories was the Kosovo election. They called me. You can't put that. I had to withdraw it, and I put a little asterisk where I put Kosovo, and we have to go right down to the bottom of each page and put, all mention of Kosovo does not in any way influence United Nations Resolution 1244. They ran me up again because I put an asterisk. I was supposed to put a small one. All these things you have to really think about. I could be the cause of conflict and war. You've got them there. Greetings from Macedonia. I can't say Macedonia. If I say Macedonia, the Greek ambassador will call me. We have to say the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. There we've got Nagorno-Karabakh and also Nagorno-Karabakh and Transnistria, other places where you've got to be very careful of the names. Next slide, please. Okay, this is where we do the experiment. Let me show you what diplomacy is like. In the OSCE, they're in charge of the negotiations on the contracts, the protracted conflicts. So they're dealing with Nagorno-Karabakh, which we heard about, Transnistria, dealing with the wars, the end results of the wars between Georgia and Russia recently. And this is how it goes. Now, Regita, would you like to step forward, please? May I take you, Anudidi? May I take you and may I take you up onto the... And I'd like the two of you to be here. Okay, so you two stand together. And you two stand here, facing each other. This is a diplomatic negotiation. And it's a diplomatic negotiation about water, because water is going to be the battlefield of the future. I am the negotiator. Okay, we've got the green side, we've got the orange side. I've got power. And I think I shall give it to the orange side. How do you feel, orange side? Privileged? Good, privileged. How do you feel?
I am fine.
And how does the green side feel?
Because you gave the water to them and we don't have any water at all, ever, never?
Never.
Oh. So we wish them well, no? At least they have the water. Someone has the water.
I would like to have too.
Okay, that's how it works. You've just seen it. When I go into negotiations, I was in Geneva just before Christmas, they sit like this. This particular one, we had Russians here, we had Georgians here, we had Abkhazians here, we had people from South Ossetia here. And it was horrible because they couldn't even agree that they would speak non-violently. But now I'm going to do something to change it. I'll take my water back, and I want you just all to come together and just mix together. Just to mix together. Let's go. The negotiations are going better. It's going well.
Where is the water?
Okay, now what are you going to do with the water? I want to see it. What are you going to do with it? They're sharing it. They're sharing the water. It's diplomacy in 2 minutes. It's succeeded. Very good.
What do you want us to do, Kathy?
You can go back and sit down. Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm getting to the end of my time, but I just wanted to make that point. When I've gone to do ethical journalism training courses, we've mixed them up. We've not had journalists from one country and another facing them. In the British Parliament, they face each other. In good parliaments, they all sit and they mix. We as women have that ability to mix. Can I have the last slide, please? This is Ambassador Jennifer Brush. I wished to bring her to the conference, but I couldn't. I couldn't because she's in Moldova, and that is where the negotiations are going on about the breakaway Republic of Transnistria. And she couldn't come because the Russians would not have liked her to be here. They were afraid she might say something. So I couldn't bring her, but I bring her picture to say that we as women are peace bringers. And when I see women in diplomatic circles, the choice of words they make, the way that they move with people, that they react with people, she brings her son and she talks to the people, the women in Moldova and the women in Transnistria. We bring something very different. We don't usually sit like that, we mix. Okay, next slide. And that's the end. Harmony. I want to try and bring harmony, and it's a big job. Thanks to Regita and others, I'm learning how to do it. Each one of you can also bring harmony in your choice of words, in the choice of how you respect other people. And if we do that, each one of us, then gradually that doom, that depression, the things that the journalists like will change, and we can change the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kathy. Ms. Poronova, I want to come to you as the Deputy Mayor yourself. You are responsible for governance and making sure that your province is administrated in the right way. What has been your experience of the use of communication to ensure good governance and order?
Наверное, у меня одна из самых сложных задач, потому что я представляю правительство, и власть обычно никто не любит.
Because I'm presenting the government and nobody likes government.
Власть создает законы, делает какие-то ограничения, о власти много говорят, что она коррумпирована.
Because the government always do some limitations for people and nobody likes it.
Но во власти тоже работают люди, и работает очень много женщин.
But there is a lot of women in the government, in the power.
У нас в России есть такая поговорка.
In Russia we have one expression.
Если вы хотите, когда вы назначаете на должность человека, решите, что вы хотите.
When you put some individual to one job, you can decide what you want from this person.
Если хотите поговорить, выстроить стратегию, тогда приглашайте мужчину.
If you want to put some strategy, if you want to speak, you need to put some men on this vacancy.
А если хотите, чтобы был результат, приглашайте женщину.
But if you want some result, you should choose a woman.
Россия очень большая страна, она разделена на 83 региона, 83 области.
So Russia is a very big country. We have 83 regions.
Во главе каждой области стоит губернатор.
And we have a governor on each region.
И сегодня большой успех, большая удача России в том, что на этих должностях есть женщины.
And there is a big success for Russia that there is some women on this work, for this job.
И область, которую я представляю, ей тоже управляет женщина.
And the region which I represent is always ruled by women.
И эта женщина не коррумпирована.
And this woman, she's not corrupted.
И она подобрала такую же команду.
And she chose the same team for herself.
Но большое спасибо Бану Диди, что позволили здесь выступить. И для меня это экзамен.
It's a big exam for me to be here, and thank you, Banu Didi, for this.
Потому что с 1997 года, когда я в первый раз приехала в Ашрам, до сегодняшнего дня, это был взлет в карьере.
So because of till 97 till present moment, it was a big growth in my career.
Были разные периоды, но ощущение того, что рядом с тобой всегда мастер, держит тебя за руку, что бы ни происходило в твоей жизни, и за это большая благодарность.
So it was different periods in my life, but this feeling that my master is always holding my hand, this is I need to thanks.
Взаимоотношения власти и СМИ всегда очень непростые.
So there is some very special relationships between media and government.
В правительстве очень много делается, но об этом очень мало знают.
So government do a lot, but nobody knows about it.
Правильнее сказать, знают ошибки, неудачи, просчеты.
So, but I say that we know more mistakes than something good about government.
И мы совсем не умеем говорить о своих достижениях, удачах, результатах.
And we cannot say something good about our results, about our achievements.
И сейчас мы реализуем очень большой проект, который называется «Открытое правительство».
And so now we are doing some project, creating some project which calls open government.
Заместители губернатора выходят в университет и читают публичные лекции.
So the right hand of governor, he is going to the universities and conduct some lectures for students.
На эти лекции может прийти любой желающий, и студенты, и взрослые, и представители СМИ.
So everybody could attend these lectures.
Можно задать любые вопросы.
You can ask every question.
И получить ответ, только вопрос в том, останешься ли ты доволен этим ответом и не возникнет ли следующий вопрос.
And you can get any answer, but the question is, will you be satisfied on this answer or not?
Мы часто, сейчас коллеги мои говорили, что если мы открываем новостную строку, то мы чаще видим проблемы стран.
So now, and we, as my colleagues said, that if we looked at some media news, we always see some bad news.
И очень редко видим результаты, какие-то интересные проекты, которые в странах реализованы.
And it's really rare we can see some good results, some projects.
Внутри России это очень похоже также.
So in Russia it's really similar.
Но мне кажется, сейчас наступает время перемен.
But it seems to me that now it's a time of changes.
В России был период жесткой цензуры.
So it was a big censure in Russia for a lot of time.
Затем цензуру отменили совсем.
And then there is no censure at all.
Получили хаос.
And there was a house.
И сейчас очень много людей наелись негативной информации.
And so people are full of negative information.
И хотят получать позитивное.
And now they want some positive.
И здесь те программы, которые мы здесь получаем в рамках искусства жизни, конечно, это очень большая помощь.
And from Art of Living, it's a very big help to conduct all these programs, projects we do.
Я здесь проходила курс Vedic Wisdom.
So I've done Vedic Wisdom just now.
И мы ездили на Падаятру.
And we've been on Padayatra.
И я расскажу небольшую историю.
And there was one story.
Ну, я не маленькая ростом, поэтому я чувствовала себя Гулливером в стране лилипутов.
So I'm quite tall, and among Indians I quite tall, like a Gulliver.
Со мной были две девочки, индийские девушки-волонтеры.
And there are two Indian very small girls with me.
А также были две моих подруги.
And there are two more friends.
И у нас происходило это так. Девочки-волонтеры стучали в дверь.
So, and how we do it, our Padayatra.
Хозяева открывали в дверь.
So they knocked on the door and then they opened it.
Девочки-волонтеры заходили за меня.
So our Indian
Из-за меня
volunteers
их не было
stayed back,
видно.
and nobody can see it after my back. My back.
Хозяйка смотрела на меня снизу вверх.
And the guest, like the owner of the pledge,
Мое
looked at
состояние
me.
было, наверное, как у Индрани, когда ее выводят на прогулку.
So my state was like Indrani, who is walking on the streets, Indrani the elephant.
Немного фраз я знаю на английском, но я говорила hello, how are you?
I can say only hello, how are you, that's all.
Из ниоткуда появлялись девочки.
There was some Indian girls appeared.
Быстро объясняли, зачем мы пришли.
Then they explained what we do.
И затем говорили, вы хотите, чтобы мы вас
And then they
благословили?
said, can we bless you?
Кто из вас?
Who is
Кто из
who are
нас?
you?
И они показывали на большую женщину.
And then they point at me.
А рядом стояла моя подруга и говорила, да, сейчас бы СМИ и в российские газеты.
So, and then my friend said, oh, maybe it's nice that Russian media will be there.
И хочется сегодня нам во власти вот тем людям, которых представляю я, чтобы мы были более открытыми, доверчивыми, чтобы мы не теряли в себе ощущение принадлежности, вот так, как сейчас проходил процесс переговоров.
And so now I want that we all, people from the government and other people, that we be more open, more trustful, and have this sense of belongingness to each other.
Tatyana? That's me. Yes.
Only one phrase.
Okay.
Чтобы мы чувствовали всегда в себе вот эту милость мастера, которая выводит нас и помогает нам в любой жизненной сложной ситуации.
That we can always feel this, the grace of the Master, which can help us in any situations.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tatyana. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, all the speakers referred to, Narayani, you started with the 5 Ds. You spoke from war journalism to peace journalism. You spoke about how media can help, but also is creating stereotypes. Kathy, your experience. So I want to start a conversation on what do you think that people in media can do? And Narayani, you spoke about, because women are now in media, there is more a direction of positive journalism. So what can media do to really represent what is even the good happening? You know, we have always experienced, and I can say this because we are doing projects in 152 countries in the world, Narayani, now from Art of Living. And whenever we go to the media and say that we want to showcase all the great work that is happening, somehow the response always is that good news doesn't sell. So how can we start making good news sellable? How can we start making the good fashionable so that more of that can start happening? Your comments?
I think the first thing is that when you present something as good news, you have to contextualize it to the current situation. Like if there's a war, the news if the good news has to be how we are going to cut short the war and how reparation is going to take place and how you can give strength to people, not just who are out there on the front, but who are keeping the home fires burning. So I think if you contextualize good news, it's very difficult if you just say we have to do good, we have to be generous, we have to educate people. But if you're more specific and if you go with a specific news, positive news, which is going to address a current issue, then I'm sure there will be a positive response, because an isolated kind of a proposal doesn't click. And the other thing I would like to point out is that now, especially in the electronic media, the trend is to have these horrible debates, where they have these 4 or 6 people in little squares on the screen, and then you have the anchor shouting and the participants shouting, and you don't know what on earth they're talking about. And it always has to be either or. But what needs to be promoted, I think, is a multiple approach where you don't have, one side doesn't have to be right and the other side doesn't have to be wrong, but you can present multiple perspectives, because what is a solution for me may not be a solution for you. So I think that needs to be highlighted, to have a multiple approach, which is what the Jain concept of Anekantvada promotes, that there's not one truth but many truths. And I think we would be failing if we don't highlight that there are many approaches to a problem and not just one.
I think it's very interesting, the question you raise. And when the Art of Living organization go to the media to talk good about themselves or yourselves, that doesn't work. You have to talk good about other organizations. And that is the spirit of generosity. We don't go around and talk well about ourselves. We talk well about other people. And that is meaningful also in the media. So when Guruji talks in the media, he should lift up the best practices of other spiritual leaders that he admires. And that is the way that we move this world forward, that we talk about each other in a positive way. And as leaders, not only media leaders, but all of you, all of us, we have a responsibility to first look for the things that unites us. Talk about the things that unites us instead of what divides us when we meet. And that takes courage. It takes the courage to see ourselves as we are, with envy and greed, and not put that on the people around us, but know that we are flawsome people and meet each other as the other presenter said, that the beauty of the world is in the eyes of the beholder, and that is what empowers us to actually see the beauty in the world. And we have to talk good about other people, not ourselves.
I think that's well said, and I think the conference that we have here and this global platform is a perfect example also how we are communicating the great work done by everybody, right? We have women from 58 countries here, and everyone is getting such an incredible chance to showcase their stories and their achievements, their experiences in life. Kathy, I want to turn to you for this.
I'm going to give you some tips. Give me your stories and I'll give you a lot of tips. But first I'm going to say something. It would be wrong of us to think that just because women are in media, it makes it better. As a woman who trained as a journalist, I can tell you, and I can see Kathrine shaking her head as well, you get socialised. You have to go into the system. So you can't assume that it's going to change that way. But cleverness, patience and a lot of thinking will change it. If you've got a good news story, you have to put yourself in the head of a journalist. So, do you know like these crime stories where there's the profiler and he has to profile the murderer and then he gets in the mind of the murderer? Well, the journalist is a bit like the murderer in this scenario. You have to think what it is that journalist will want. So, that journalist is likely to want statistics. So, like Rajita does her TLEX course, she takes the evidence of what the Sudarshan Kriya does and she shows it. Evidence, evidence, evidence. Facts, facts, facts. Also, look around at the topical stories. I just read some. Find the stories where you can ring up a journalist and say, I've got some news for you on this. We've been into that prison. Oh, the story of the prisons was so interesting. You know, the story of the prison. We've been to prisons in India. It's very different to the situation in Britain. You could do this, this, this. The proof is here. Write about it. Third tip, get to know the journalists. Get to know them, make friends with them, talk to them, always be truthful to them, and they will come to you for information. That's just 3 tips. I'll leave it at that.
Ms. Lilani, I want to ask you, what do you think is the responsibility of the media today to create harmony in society? A, do you think it's doing it in the bigger context of what's happening in the world? And what responsibility can the media take to create this harmony?
Without a shadow of a doubt, the media has huge responsibility. We know they have such impact, and I totally agree with you that we have to go to them. And my own experience is if you get one of them on board, I'm doing what is a mini Davos for women in October, and actually the Financial Times are my media partner. And I actually went to them and said, could they give me someone who'd work with me? So I have a cutting-edge journalist, and I've told her, we have to be responsible. These are my values. You can't ever do anything if they don't listen. You know, they've got so much of power, we know that. And my own experience is they love to have substance, but they want a glamorous face there. So whatever I say, we have to bring somebody who's really photogenic to the media. They want those kind of stories. They love young stories. They love stories of hope and people who've broken barriers to get there. So I think we have to get them on our side, but you know, they can be hugely irresponsible. I know that in the UK, that there's I'm quite cynical and very reluctant to approach them because I think they can do so much of damage if you're not careful. But getting them on our side is the biggest asset we would have.
Ms. Poronova, what are your thoughts on this?
У любого правительства есть ответственность во взаимодействии со СМИ и о том, какие новости туда попадают.
So there is a responsibility for every government which news media is doing.
Причина в том, что правительство за освещение себя платит деньги СМИ.
So the reason is that governments they pay money for what kind of news is put in the media.
И мы сегодня приняли решение у себя в области, что мы поддерживаем те СМИ, которые создают больше хороших новостей.
And now we make a decision in my region that we will support only such kind of media which puts a good news.
Но я согласна с дамами, которые говорили, что от каждого из нас зависит то, что будет в СМИ, каким оно будет в СМИ.
But I also agree with all my colleagues that it's our responsibility and it depends on us what kind of news we will.
Мне кажется, мы должны сегодня сделать модным то, что ты можешь быть конкурентоспособным только тогда, когда ты имеешь духовные практики.
And now I think that we should make it fashionable that you will be very success only in case if you have some spiritual practice in your life.
И если таких людей будет больше, то плохих новостей в СМИ будет меньше.
If such kind of people will be more, there will be less such a bad news.
Okay. We heard so many remarks now from the panel. I think it's a time to invite some engagement from all of you, and we would like to hear your thoughts or the questions that you may have for the panel. You have a question, Kiranji?
I don't have a question. I have a response as a solution. Just as we have in the newspapers a sports page, it's all about sports. Then we have in the newspapers a business page, it's all about business. Then we have special pages, and we also have columns, a spiritual column, like the Speaking Tree in Times of India, and another one in Hindustan Times. Unless you will have hope page, a page of hope, you will never bring positive news.
Wow.
The British people will remember that at the end of the news in Britain on the ITN, they always had something, and finally, and then it was a cheerful story about an animal or a story of hope.
Thank you, Kiranji. And what are the, yes, there. Malika, could you help them with the mic? The lady in the yellow shirt, yeah.
Hi, Isabel from Mauritius. I'm just wondering whether we have media people who are covering this conference today, so that these talks are spread all over the world, so that they might be inspired.
Yes, that's a very good point. Yes. I think we have a few here and they are listening.
But any press release that we can get and spread the message to our own media contacts in our own country, I think it will be a big push.
Great. Yes, definitely. Thank you. Yes. The lady in the sari there, yeah, orange.
Hello, my name is Graciela. I'm from Argentina. I live in the USA. I think we need to change the consciousness in the business world. Like media is a business. If they don't do business, they're not going to exist. So I think it is prevalent still, unfortunately, the idea that fear can sell more, or the idea of divide and conquer. So I think if we get to change the consciousness that really we don't need to be separate, or we don't need to be divided to sell more, to bring more business, and actually working together in harmony can be more successful in the long run. I think until we don't get to that stage of consciousness, we're still going to see that the media probably going to want it to sell more negative things and more scary or sensationalism things than providing or promoting peace.
Thank you. Yes.
Jai Gurudev. I am Amira Chakravarti, faculty or research faculty in Jain University, beside doing women's work since about 30 years. In the morning, Ms. Vimla Mehra mentioned a very good point, which she said that if you have authority and if you are there, then you can change the world. And I think Kiran Bedi, who's also inspired me a lot, did it and showed it. So my plea today, I want to plead to all of you who are in power, who are in authority, that having realized this, isn't it possible to unite together and bring pressure on the countries which have made their own people refugees, besides, the other nations also who are responsible, like China. The whole Tibet is here, and we are in harmony. So if we can boycott these countries who have destabilized their men, women, and children, and non-violently, then I think to bring in harmony world over, this will be a great strength that women can show, which at present Guruji is doing single-handedly as one-man army. Then why not we, as so many women, can do that? Thank you.
Great. Of course. I think that is the purpose. We are here together to find strength in each other and with each other. And I'm sure this will happen. Yes. The lady here in the black skirt. Yeah, she raised her hand here first, if it's okay.
Wait.
Tatyana, the lady behind you, actually. And then we come to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tanika Gray, and I am a journalist from CNN in the United States. And thank you to the panelists. Thank you. Thank you to the panelists for sharing your story. I would just like to say that at CNN, we want to hear your stories. So tell me your stories, because we want to hear them. To the point of, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but to your point, on CNN.com, we have a page all about good news. So I know the media constantly puts out bad news, but I want you to know at CNN, we are doing our best to put out good news. So please, tell me your stories.
Great, you'll have a lot of news to take from here. Yeah, a lot of news to take from here. Just a moment, I think the panelist has a comment here.
Аня? Я сейчас заметила одну особенность. Нам кажется, что у нас есть проблема, но оказывается у нас очень много решений.
So now I've just noticed that it seems to us that we have a problem, but actually we have a lot of solutions to this problem.
И очень много уже реализуется для того, чтобы это было.
And we realized already very much.
И мне кажется, нам нужна площадка для того, чтобы мы делились тем, у кого что есть, для того, чтобы можно было это объединять.
And now I think that we need some platform that we can share our experience and can share our experience.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So hi and assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Anam and I'm from Pakistan. So first of all, I would like to thank you all for giving us a platform where we can actually come, stand here and talk about peace. Thank you so much. Secondly, since this discussion is about media and I am also a news presenter at one of our government channel, so on the behalf of that, I would really want to draw some specific lines, I mean the clear lines between the two countries, because the more we want to create peace in the two countries by the art of living, the more media spoils us. So it is actually a dire request from our side for the two sides of the media channels to please keep on dividing, not to create divide and rule. Start telling good stories as well. There's a lot of good stuff happening there. You have no idea how art of living is famous in Pakistan. Maybe people who, in India, people might not know about the art of living the way in Pakistan they do. So basically, I have actually brought peace and love all the way from Pakistan, and I want to tell this to you all, that it's not about the barriers. While I entered Bangalore, I could not even realize that I was in a different country. The people are the same. We have the same, hearts. We are just having these different faces. So basically, I literally want the media to show some responsibility and between these two subcontinent countries, because unless it's the media who can actually portray the right image of the two countries instead of just making them more far and far.
May I respond to your request? We have been talking about not the LOC as line of control, but as love over country.
Yes, exactly.
So
that is so sweet of you. That is the reason people love art of living there.
And we have the Aman Ki Asha series where we highlight the positive vibes between the people of the two countries to make more people-to-people contact rather than get involved with governments,
But what I suggest is that we need to create more platforms.
Yes,
like this.
I think the point is made.
Thank you so
get
much.
that. Thank you for your comment. Kathrine, you have a remark?
Yes, I get very excited. There's a lot of energy in here. And I'm thinking, it's so easy to blame the media. But we have to remember that we are all publishers. Yeah. All of you are publishers. We have the social media. You can send out the positive news. You could send out love every day. If you through Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and you could just love Pakistan, you could love India, you could love the US, you could love Iraq, you could love Norway even if it's cold. I mean, and if we don't use that opportunity, we don't take responsibility. And I have one thing to say about the journalists. And this is, I'm thinking that you should really nudge us. Do you know the nudging? You do nudging instead of gelling. You should send out the things we do that you like. You should just send to all your friends, because we are human beings and we are open for flatter. And what gives us attention, we do more of. So send out the things we write that you like.
Okay. Yes.
Can I?
Yes, go ahead. You have the mic here on the left from Kurdistan. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. أوقاتكم سعيدة جميعا وشكرا لهذا لنا جميعا من بلدان متعددة وتقاليد مختلفة وعادات وأديان مختلفة.
One moment, ma'am. Can I have someone to translate? Mawahib, are you here to translate? Yeah. So could you hold for a moment till the translator comes down? We can take another question quickly. So, yeah, you can.
كيف ترجمة كده؟
She's come? Okay, go ahead. Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
لسه؟ كان ما بيجي أو ترحيبه ممكن بيجي. أو ترحيبه ممكن أو بيجي.
I want to thank you all. My good experience and my good feeling here.
أولا نريد نتكلم شوية شيء صغير عن تجربة كردستان ودور المرأة الكردية في حل النزاعات سلميا لأن كان
I want to share my experience, my Kurdistan experience about how can the woman solving the conflict.
لأن كان عندنا في فترة المضى عديد من الحروب والنزاعات الداخلية.
Because in the past we have many war and we have many conflicts in our region.
فحاولت النساء أن تحل هذه المشاكل لأنها كان لها دور إيجابي لم تحسب نفسها من ذاك الحزب أو هذا الحزب أو هذه الدولة أو هذا الدولة فكان دورها سلمي.
The rule of the woman was so peaceful. She didn't think that she is from this political party or from the other political party. She just want to solve the problems.
عدا هذا لأن الموضوع طويل فنحاول في أوقات ثانية نتكلم عنها بشكل مفصل ولكن التجربة الثانية هو دور الإعلام في أكثرية الأحيان تكون دور الإعلام سلبي.
She said that the role of the media is so negative. Many times it is so negative.
دور سلبي والسبب مو اللي يعملونه في مجال الميديا ولكن اللي توصل إلهم وعليهم أن يتحققوا فيما توصل إليهم خاصة بالنسبة للإحصائيات والانتحارات والقتل والمشاكل النسائية لأنها حساسة جدا فبعض الدول تكون وراها مشاكل أكثر بمرور الزمن طبعا.
It is the matter of statistics. Sometimes the data and the statistics is not so right. Sometimes for example, the number of the women being killed, it's so exaggerated.
Yeah, I think, yes, thanks for your comment. In the interest of time, we will take one or two more. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.
I think it's the importance of reporting again correctly that you are bringing out. I think we have time for just one or two. Okay, one or two comments. You are standing. And then Tatyana here, yeah. Can you keep it short so that either it can get a response or we listen to your...
Two things.
Yeah.
First one, I'm from Israel and I thank all the Arabs, the women from Arab countries which are here. I think this is a wonderful opportunity to talk and to meet, and that's news for me.
Yes.
And we also brought with us a call for the women in Syria, which we believe that we have to support and help to change the situation there, and we will be happy to speak with anyone that will support it. Now in Israel I was leading the movement of freedom of choice in childbirth, which meant to give each woman the opportunity to choose the way she wants to give birth. And at the beginning when I spoke to the media, they said if there is no blood, we don't want to hear the story. Now it goes through the years, like 15 years of working in this field, and now many women are in the media, and we feel that we are crossing, I have my agents in the media, and they write the way I feel should be, the things should go and pass on to the public, because we have to change the approach of the public towards birth and the rights of children and women during birth. We still have a long way to go, but I feel that we have agents in media and that we are all really media creators. And I thank each of you for what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I think just a last comment here from Tatyana. Yes?
Джейгар Гурдев. Я хотела бы предложить конкретное решение.
I have one solution.
Я пришла из администрации, из правительства российского, проработав там 11 лет в искусстве жизни.
I worked in the Russian government for 11 years.
Мой друг Ирина Рукина, спикер, проработала в российском правительстве 12 лет.
And my friend Irina, who was our speaker, she worked in the Russian government for 12 years.
Мой друг Tatyana Poronova работает в правительстве.
So my friend Tatyana is working in the government now.
Работая сейчас, находясь под эгидой такого великого мастера, как наш Гуруджи, который нас не просто ведет, а несет в эту гармонию.
And so now I work in the government of Art of Living, and our master, he's not just carrying us, he just like...
Надо, чтобы больше людей, искусства жизни были в наших правительствах.
And so I think that we need more people from Art of Living in our governments.
Сейчас у нас, настало это время.
So now is the time for this.
Совет директоров России, Art of Living, находится в нем 4 депутата или члена правительства. 4 в Совете директоров уже сейчас Art of Living.
So now in directors of Art of Living in Russia, we have 2 deputies who sitting in the government.
Tatyana? Yes.
Все, я хочу сказать, что мы готовы к этому, чтобы самим принимать законы в своей стране.
So we are ready to create our new rules in our countries from Art of Living.
Thank you. Thank you. Keep it short because we have to break.
Keep it short. Thank you very much. This has been a very, very interesting and very inspirational conference. I'm from Bangladesh. Assalamu alaikum, and good morning to everyone. Good afternoon to everyone. I think there's one important point that hasn't been raised, and I felt that this was very important. The point is, media is dominated by those who are powerful and rich. Media belongs to those who are powerful and rich, and those who are poor, who have the truth, but do not get their truth reflected because the rich and the powerful dominate the truth. I think when we talk about hope, when we talk about truth, we need to, it's wonderful to talk about love and spread love and unity between nations. But when you know that the powerful actually divide, separate people, separate nations, create hatred as a political means to control, how does this panel think we can overcome that? And I think that's where our greatest challenge with the media is, with respect to both gender as well as rights of the people. By the way, I'm a human rights activist, and I work with disadvantaged, vulnerable people. Thank you.
I think we are almost close to the end of the time, and we heard a lot of comments. We heard about the page of hope, we heard about the CNN opportunity available, we heard about misrepresentation of statistics, we heard about more women being in media to enable better positive and balanced reporting. I want to ask the panel for a quick, like a half a minute closing remark, which kind of encompasses what all of you spoke, and then the responses from the panel.
Okay,
we'll close now. Yeah, no, later. No, I want to call it close here. Yes, please.
They say some people come into our lives and quietly go away, and others leave footprints on our hearts, and we're never the same again. I really want to say a very big thank you to so many of you who have left footprints on my heart, especially to Sonali, who's looked after me, and everybody here. It's been very special, and I know we'll all go away and help the media to be more responsive to what we want.
Okay, thank you. Kathrine?
I'm very inspired by my colleague in CNN and by my colleague also from India. We are working on these issues, and we need your help, every one of you, to stop. Guruji has this beautiful thing. Do you remember complaining? Awareness? When we complain, the awareness gets down. So we all have to be strong and be aware and use our publishers' rights, because we need to empower ourselves and other people. So I'm very inspired, and I'm hopeful. And we don't need one section for hope. We need hope through the whole. All our stories should be about hope, because all stories are about hope.
Yes. To conclude, I would just say that despite all the negative, some negative opinion about the media, I think the media is powerful in a positive way, because even an ordinary average person, if someone tries to get him into trouble, he says, "Main media ko phone karunga," and immediately, there's a kind of a impact, and then they kind of tone down, because the media's name is being used a lot for positive purposes as well, to highlight any kind of oppression or corruption, and I think that way the media has come a long way. So you cannot generalize and say that all media is negative.
You are so wise that everything that's been said in this room you can take out and you can work with. But I've got 3 messages for you. One is when Kathrine came in and she said, "You are the journalists, get on social media." She took the words from my mouth. Get on social media. Be your own journalist. Tell your own story. The traditional media follow you. They will see it. They will print and broadcast it. I guarantee you. Number 2, I played a game there, and it was a game of nations, diplomacy. But when I hear some of the things that are said in the room here about your feelings of negativity towards journalists, it's as if you're playing that game. Stop playing the game of the bottles. Get in, mix, talk, make friends. You've got a friend here in CNN. I need your card. You've got a friend. This is my proof. And if they get things wrong and they're your friend, you can tell them. Third thing, very quickly, I wanted to finish off my talk on this. I brought you a lot of doom and despondency, but I wanted to finish on this. I have been a year in my job now. When I first started, it was full of broken relationships, fear, people who were scared of each other. In the world in which I live and you see as difficult, they were paranoid. I think my biggest achievement in a year is that they're starting to talk to each other. They're bringing people cakes, even men are bringing cakes into the office. People are sitting down, they're talking together. It feels completely different. And if something has been given to me to make that change, it's not about what I do technically in my job, it's about how the people who are working with me have been able to see that there's some way different to do it. You do that too, huh? Get in, make things change.
Thank you. Tatyana, some quick last remarks.
Мы часто себя недооцениваем. Кто-то должен прийти, что-то сделать, организовать медиаплощадку, что-то еще.
So very often we don't appreciate ourselves as we need. So we need to some people do something.
У меня не было богатых родителей, я была просто лаборанткой на заводе, а сегодня я заместитель губернатора.
So I haven't got very rich parents, and from my childhood we were not so rich, but now I'm working in the government.
Есть правило, которое вложил в меня в Гуруджи.
So there is one rule which Guruji told me.
Первое – это брать ответственность.
First is to take responsibility.
Не бояться ошибок, двигаться вперед.
And don't afraid to move forward.
Верить в себя.
Believe to yourself.
Всегда чувствовать его присутствие.
And feel his presence all the time.
И тогда жизнь внутри себя и вокруг гармонична.
And then life inside you and life outside you will be very harmonious.
И здесь очень сложно сидеть, потому что нужны очки. Потому что столько света.
And here is very difficult to sit because there is too much light.
И каждая женщина и здесь присутствующая, каждый бриллиант.
So every woman here is like a brilliant.
И когда эти бриллианты вернутся к себе в страны,
and when these brilliants will come back to their countries,
бриллиантовое ожерелье будет больше и больше.
There were more and more brilliants.
Спасибо всем за участие.
Thank you so much for participating.
Thank you. I think a big hand to the panel and a big hand to all of you for this very engaging last hour. And as the title of this session really said, commitment, communication and equanimity, the recipe for perfect relationship. Narayani, you started us on with the 5 Ds, and I think it would be right to end with the 3 H's, because you have been giving a lot of 3 tips. So the 3 H's of hope, happiness, and therefore harmony. And how can we find that perfect relationship with the hope, happiness, and harmony, so that we can stand up for the responsibility that we have for our world.